One of the major sticking points that still remains is one of the key issues, which is Russia's demand that Ukraine and other former Soviet nations be blocked from joining NATO. Over the past 24 hours, we've heard a new mantra from the United States towards Ukraine, which is nothing about you without you. Is there going to be any middle ground on this critical issue?
Not on that issue. This is long-standing NATO policy called open door policy. Any European country that meets the qualifications of NATO is eligible to join.
How do we break the stalemate from where we sit right now? We've, of course, been talking about a number of discussions, firstly, between the United States and Russia that seemingly remain deadlocked, and now the first day of NATO talks. Who's going to blink first, I guess? How is the impasse broken, if at all?
It's hard to know who will blink first. The proposals that Wendy Sherman made with regard to deployment of missiles in Europe and increased confidence-building measures for military exercises, transparency, both of those proposals arise out of previous arms control agreements that were carefully negotiated between Moscow and Washington and Moscow and European countries earlier. So there is a precedent for making progress in that area. But that may not be enough for Russia. So Russia, again, is out on a limb. They may not be able to bridge the divide. Somebody may have to blink first. In some respects, this is what happened in the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. Khrushchev took the Soviet Union out on a limb too much, then had to withdraw, was embarrassed, humiliated, and 2 years later he was ousted from office for other reasons as well.
Okay, let's unpack that in a little bit more detail. Who may blink first? If you're looking at the Russian perspective, sanctions have been threatened. Appears to be perhaps Russia seeing that as a hollow threat because it doesn't appear to be having much impact on swaying opinion from the Russian side. We've also got the threat over Nord Stream 2. What else can the West, the United States and NATO propose other than, I guess, boots on the ground to, I guess, counteract the build-up in troops that we're seeing on the Ukrainian border?
So there are a couple of things. First, the financial sanctions that the West imposed in 2014 when Russia invaded Ukraine the first time, they've had a real impact on gross domestic product growth in Russia. Various estimates are 1% to 2% per year, and that accumulates. The new sanctions, which Europe and the United States seem to be pretty well united on, are going to have much greater impact, basically cutting Russian banks off from the Western international financial system. Secondly, with regard to an invasion on the military side, the United States, NATO countries could provide more equipment, more ammunition in the middle of a fight, and perhaps even escalate the kind of arms they would supply. For example, Stinger anti-aircraft missiles, which the U.S. has not yet supplied. Those are not a wonder weapon, but they could help.